Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Reece's Reviews from MyGeekCulture.com. My name is Reece Cashel and welcome to another episode where we delve deeply into entertainment, movies, TV shows, theatre, and give our honest opinions about them. Again, as I said from last week's episode, I am running solo. The big man legend that is our producer and head honcho, Matthew Fulton, is off exploring this amazing world, so next week on we have another solo episode for myself. So if you bear with me last week, we can do this again and hopefully we can do it even better. This week I am delving into a few things, and these are all films and one little TV series towards the end. I'm delving into a brand new release, two actually brand new release films on today's episode, with going back in time a little bit, maybe about 5 years ago, to another documentary film, and then maybe jumping into a little bit of a docu-series towards the end. What that is, we'll get there. Thank you so much for coming aboard and following me on this journey that is Reece's Reviews on MyGeekCulture.com. Let's not waste any time and delve right back into it, shall we? Now, the first film off this rank of this week's episode, we're going back in time a little bit. We're going back into the Vietnam War in 1968 with a adaptation from a novel, and this is a fully Australian film directed by Luke Spark, and this is no other than Primitive War. Now, this is a film that's set in Vietnam 1968 amongst the Vietnam War. It follows the events of a certain squad called Vulture Squad, where they get sent into an isolated jungle into the middle of Vietnam to rescue a Green Beret platoon, and soon discover that things aren't always what they seem, and things have maybe been left out of the debrief before being let into the jungle. And what that is pretty much prehistoric. So we're pretty much jumping into having a, I would say, Platoon versus Jurassic World. I would say Jurassic Park kind of film here, where we have the grittiness of an American elite squad, and again thrust into the amongst of a Jurassic kind of experience. So this is a very much a very different type of film that we're getting from Luke Spark, but it definitely does have his essence when it comes to the theatricality of what this film provides. So you can definitely see the whole authentic point when it comes to his filmmaking, especially when it comes to practicality of the action, the practicality of the special effects and things like that. And they've definitely done as much as they possibly can to put money into the CGI and bringing to life the dinosaurs. Now, this is a independent film done by Australia. This is very much done a lot by Luke Spark. He directed it. He adapted the screenplay. He edited it. This is all on the back of Luke Spark's brilliant and an amazing craftsmanship that he has brought to the screen at this point. He is the spokesperson these days when it comes to bringing high action and high budget films from Australia and putting them on the international market, which this film was absolutely incredible. This one actually went and had its place at San Diego Comic-Con this year, which has not been done for an Australian film in a very, very long time. A lot of Australian films don't get the opportunity to put onto an international market, and the fact that they actually had billboards and posters of this film on Hollywood Boulevard right next to the Chinese theater says a lot. The fact that the marketing behind this film and what they were able to accomplish with the marketing budget, and the fact that it was, like I said, independent, was absolutely incredible. Now, going into my kind of gist about the film, I actually thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm not just trying to be prejudiced in the fact that it is an Australian film and trying to build my awareness to the fact that we should be supporting Australian film, which we definitely all should. We have an amazing film society here in Australia, and we have a lot of amazing creators and a lot of amazing producers and screenwriters, and just a whole bunch of film industry that should be taking advantage of in this country, which is why I think a lot of international films are being brought down to Australia, because we know how much our work ethic is so incredible when it comes to bringing things to fruition. Now, this is no exception. This was all filmed, from my understanding, up on the Gold Coast and on Brisbane, taking advantage of the sheer volume that we were able to provide. So the fact that we were able to accomplish what we was able to accomplish was absolutely incredible. Now, the story is very straightforward. We're being adapted to what it was adapted from when it comes to the source material of the novel. So the fact that they was able to do what we was able to do and just bring you the realness and the grittiness of what it was able to accomplish. Now, I'm not too familiar with the source material, which was the novels based on Ethan Pettis' novels. And I know the first book was released back in 2017, so it is a pretty not a newish book, but it does have a string of books, and it is a series. So the fact that he was able to bring this to adapt it to in a way it was, and the horror aspects and the grittiness and the action and just bringing it into a whole new atmosphere was absolutely eye-opening and very incredibly done. The fact that one of the things I was thinking about when I was walking through this film was the fact of I recently went and saw Jurassic World Rebirth, and anyone who listened to previous episodes would have known that I didn't really enjoy it as much. But coming out of this one, this is what I kind of thought that Jurassic World Rebirth could have had. Like, you want to go, the story is, you don't want anything complexity, because you don't want, the whole purpose behind the film is you want to have good action, characters you can get behind, and having good dinosaur death scenes and just having some fun with it. And the fact that this was able to provide it, along with grounded action, great characters you can get behind. Ryan Quanten led this film beautifully. Now, Ryan Quanten, I know from Home and Away back in the day when he was coming out. He went overseas, and now he's done very, very well for himself. I then got introduced to him again when he was coming on board with True Blood, which was a very eye-opening character. We saw a lot of Ryan Quanten in that series. And then jumping into other, he's able to go to so many different genres, action, horror, and be able to provide us a lot of that. And the fact that he came home, yes, this is an American squad, because the base of the film is on this novel. It is about Vietnam War and the American soldiers and all that kind of stuff was actually done very, very well. So I think Ryan Quanten led this film perfectly. But I think one of the standouts of the film is actually one of the foreign actresses that brought over from overseas, which is Tricia Helfer. Now, she was beautiful in this role. I know her from, her, if you heard of Tricia Helfer before, you might be living under a rock, but she was in Battlestar Galactica, and she was perfect in that. And the fact that she was brought on board for this, they gave that extra spice when it comes to the flair that we needed to open up the people's eyes to an international film, was actually done beautifully. I found this, she was one of the standouts for them. She had a massive and a great character arc from this film. The fact that you had this amazing film where it's based around the dinosaurs and what was bringing them into this, because you're taking these prehistoric animals, and the biggest question is to why are they here? Why are they in the Vietnam War in this jungle? And Tricia's helpless character, Sophia, is the main plot point as to giving you an understanding as to why they are here. And I found that yes, it wasn't like to do nothing too complex. There's nothing too, I wouldn't say it's, oh my God, it was something that completely original, but the way they spun it was actually so well done that it was, you just felt behind the characters and you related to them, and you can tell they all had great chemistry between the actual vibe, the squad themselves. So not just Ryan Quanten character, but the other members of that squad worked off each other beautifully. And then you got the other international star, Jeremy Piven, in there as the Colonel, just given that stereotypical hard and not something you trust at certain points what he's saying and things like that. So just the whole well-rounded cast was fantastically done. The action was done beautifully. The CGI was done as best as it possibly can. There are some points throughout the film where the CGI lacks at certain points, but putting in my mindset of what that was, you can definitely tell they tried as much as they possibly can. Yes, it's gonna fall short. I think they fell short when it comes to the aerial shots. So certainly when it comes to the dinosaurs that are very much like pterodactyls in a way, you can definitely see the CGI lagging at certain points. But overall, you're getting what you want. You can let go of the stereotype, or not the stereotype, but the assumptions of having to be absolute perfection when it comes to CGI, because you've got some grounded characters and a great story you can get behind. And yes, there are some editing issues, little points when it comes to drags on a little bit, but you can overlook it. It's such a fun time to have at the movies. It's a great action film. You know, you can see the practicality and the effort put on screen, and it's just a well made, fun, entertaining, energetic, and great film to get behind. I could have given this film a lot of higher rating if I could. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. It could have been given a 4-star rating on my opinion about it, but I think it just lagged because of those certain points when it comes to the pacing at certain points, and just the some key action scenes lagged when it comes to the CGI and the special effects. I think they just topped it down a little bit for me, but other than that, it was a great thing. And I think that one of the things I liked about it as well is anyone who listened to previous episodes when I was reviewing Supernova Sydney, I had a great conversation with Lincoln Lewis on that when I was there, and he told me about this film and certain behind the scenes notes. Now, Lincoln Lewis was in the opening scene of this film, and he was great. Like, I really wish that he had a bit more screen time. He had a bit more one of those background characters, but I know he fortunately didn't get a chance to. But I love the opening scene of this film, just to bring up that the grittiness as to what was going on, and just giving you a bit more of a throw you into the thick of it, and showing it, this is what when you get to go around, we're going to hit you right in the face, and this is what we're going to be doing. And the fact that Lincoln Lewis had the brief screen time that he had, but was able to show you that, was great. And I do have I wouldn't say. Oh yeah, I think I would say it. I do have a kind of a soft spot when it comes to Australian actors and wanting them to succeed. And when it comes to Lincoln Lewis, because I had such a personal relationship when it comes to seeing him every year at the cons and having a great conversation with him, I am biased when it comes to supporting him as much as possible, because I actually think he's a fantastic young actor. I wish he would get more roles, because he definitely deserves it. And the fact that I was able to come watch a film and seeing him on the big screen where he definitely shines, I thought was actually fantastic. So if anyone is out there who wants to have a fun time at the movies, delve into the prehistoric era when it comes to bit of both, bit of prehistoric and have into modern era in a way within the Vietnam War, and there's a great character to get behind, I would say give Primitive War a chance. Just go out there, support our Australian films. It is definitely one that it should be watched on the big screen, and go and have some fun with it. Again, I gave it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. I think it just barely just got 3.5 stars. I could give it a 4. I think that once I had some time to think about it a bit more, I could give it about 4 stars and upgrade it a bit more. But once I think about it a bit more, but at the moment it's 3.5. So if anyone wants to go out and watch a fun time in the movies, Primitive War is one I would definitely recommend for you. Okay, sticking to brand new releases, I'm going through prehistoric and action to just bloody action fun, which is continuing into a franchise that is Nobody 2. Now, I loved the first Nobody. That was such a welcome surprise when I went and saw the first Nobody. Anyone who kind of I think they had those certain points where you don't think somebody is known for to be an action star. I think this is another one where it surprised us. I think that you wouldn't think action star when you think Bob Odenkirk, but the fact that you were able to do that with this film was actually, this franchise is definitely his now. So I loved the first one. I thought it was, like I said, a nice surprise. You don't know what you're expecting when it comes to it. You just think it's done by some of the producers of John Wick, so you know the action is going to be up to a certain point, and it didn't disappoint with the first one. And you had nice surprises with supporting cast. You have the beautiful Connie Nielsen in it, who is the beautiful lady from Gladiator, and then you got the legend that is Christopher Lloyd in there playing his Bob Odenkirk's playing Bob Odenkirk's father. Sorry, should I say? And so bringing this franchise now, which is a franchise now, giving it a sequel, I was all in for it. So I could not wait to delve back into the world that is Nobody, and what Bob Odenkirk was going to provide it. And the good thing about this film is that it's not a long film. It only goes for about an hour and a half, which is kind of what you need for these startup films, with a nice action film. Now, the one thing I would say about this film, like, I didn't like it as much as I did the first one. I thought it lagged in certain points when it comes to story and narrative. I didn't have as much of a drive for it. But with that being said, that didn't take away from me and not enjoying it. The action is still there. It's still great when it comes to... I say that the hand-to-hand combat was definitely still on point. I think this movie is not going to win any Oscars when it comes to the story and the script, because it is there's nothing original about it. The guy goes on vacation with his family, wrong place, wrong time, does something, hell breaks loose, ensues. The end. There's nothing else. You're going there for having in love with the characters and having some fun with a great action film popcorn flick, and you're getting that out of it. Now, there's a certain point in this film, I'm not going to give anything away, but there's a certain point in this film where you feel the audience, and I wasn't alone when I went and saw this, where I wasn't the only one, where a certain scene happened, and you're just thinking, oh, you did not just do that. You're about to get hell put back on you. And definitely there is certain points about this film, and you're just going, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Oh, no. And hell breaks loose, and Bob Odenkirk's character just lets loose. So there's definitely moments throughout this film with that, and just bringing in the family dynamic a bit more to fruition with this film, rather than it was shown a little bit in the first one, but they make a big centerpiece in the narrative in this one, which is a bit of a change of pace when it comes to the first one. I think that's where the plot points kind of fell short in the little aspects, because they delve a little bit more into certain things that needed a bit more of a tightening when it comes to the script. But other than that, it was done very well. I found that I don't know, there is certain points about it. And I think that another thing that I found a little bit generic was the villain. Now, Sharon Stone is one of the villains that she turns up towards the end of the second act, and I'm not going to give anything away when it comes to spoilers in this film, as I said, but there's nothing original about her villainous. There's nothing, she doesn't have any great narrative, she doesn't have anything that's basically character arc. She's a very stereotypical mob boss villain, and there's nothing else that comes out of it. She is good to see on screen again and playing that kind of role, so that part of it I definitely enjoyed. But other than that, she didn't bring anything that's absolutely essential to the plot. But she did the supporting points around it when it comes to henchmen. They do emphasize on the fear that this person would have on them, and she does have certain moments where you can see that aspect of it, but it just wasn't as gravitas as you would hope to see. For example, when you see John Wick Chapter 4, you've got that Bill Skarsgård's character, you feel that the fear and that what he wants you to feel, and he has some development throughout the film because he's scattered throughout, and you know he's a force to be reckoned with. And I think with Sharon Stone's character, it just lacks that a little bit. But other than that, it's a fun film. I think if you like the first one, I think you'll like the second one. It gives you the action, it gives you the thrills, it gives you the characters and the emotions surrounding it, and it's a good fun time to have. And not just that, you had some nice surprises. And then you've got Christopher Lloyd coming back, Connie Nielsen is back, and she was looking as beautiful as ever. And it's a fun time to have all around it. So if you like the first one, you'll like the second one. I would say give it a go and see what you think. I gave it 3 stars on Letterboxd with a thumbs up, so I gave it a thumbs up well. So popcorn flick, indeed, it definitely is. So if you liked it, go give it a shot. Alrighty, so now we're going to be changing pace. I'm going to go talk about a little bit about a documentary now. Now, I have been a fan of the director of this documentary for quite a number of years. I listen to this gentleman's podcast daily. He has an amazing podcast called The John Campea Show. That it's all about entertainment, all about movies, TV shows, streaming, and just talks about them and gives you the updates on movie news and all that kind of fun stuff. So this film has been talked about on this podcast for years. This film was brought back out in 2020. And this is a documentary called Movie Trailers, A Love Story. And this film pretty much examines the creation and evolution of movie trailers and pretty much goes around passionate fans, creators, YouTubers, directors, producers, and just gets the importance of what trailers make for the industry and for us film fans and how they work well with each other and how they make or break a film, pretty much. And this film I've been wanting to watch for years, but because of the film's location where it was made, it didn't have an international. You can't get it internationally. But awesome thing is that the amazing John Campea did a live premiere of it on his YouTube channel. So I was finally able to sit down and watch this film, and I can say it did not disappoint. I'm a huge film buff. Everyone who's listened to this, as you can probably tell, will know I am a huge filmography. So being able to sit down and watch a film made by a guy who loves his film more so than what I do, and be able to just showcase a different side of the fandom, a different side of what is usually talked about when it comes to the film atmosphere, when it comes to trailers. It's fantastically done. I think that the editing is done greatly as well, and just the different voices that he was able to get with his interviews with YouTubers that I actually watch as well. Like, he has a common co-host on his podcast, on his channel, Robert Burnett. His opinions in his voice and what he brings to the table when it comes to knowledge is incredible. Like, he did amazing behind the scenes work and a documentary when it comes to Superman Returns when it was filmed here in Sydney. And just his wealth of knowledge is incredible. And just seeing what they were able to provide and showcasing different footage and going from the origination of movie trailers and delving into certain key points in history of film when it comes to how evolution came about and how you've got trailers that were made back in the way, how they were made to bring people to theaters, and then eventually you get to the modern age where it comes to the only way you were able to see trailers is to go to the movie theaters. You didn't have YouTube and online services to watch trailers, so the only way you were able to watch trailers is to go to the theater. And one of the biggest impacts in that was Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, that trailer was shown in the front of Meet Joe Black, and one of the biggest reasons why Meet Joe Black did so well when it first came out was the fact that everyone was literally buying tickets for that movie just to see the Star Wars trailer, because it was decades before we actually got a Star Wars movie, because the last one was Return of the Jedi, and this was the first movie that in decades that we were getting. So a lot of people were just flocking to the cinemas to watch this trailer, to try and get certain things, and this is where dial-up internet was starting to come into fruition, and people trying to spend hours downloading and getting this off the web to watch this 2-minute trailer was incredible. And then going from there into how it impacts the marketing when it comes to films showing too much of a movie and what's not too much, and getting industry people who actually make trailers into the documentary as well. So I found this so well made and so eye-opening. I could watch this film again and still get more information out of it. Anyone who loves the film industry, who thinks they might want to learn a bit more and just see a different aspect of it and get a film done not by industry high-end directors and producers, but someone who's just a fan. Film-loving fandom. This is what we're here for, and this film is made by them. And I think anyone who's interested in learning more about the marketing side of things, about how trailers are made and how they may impact us, I was 100% recommend watching this film. Like I said, it is on YouTube. Just type in Movie Trailers, A Love Story. It is directed by the legend John Campea, and I would say go give it a go. I gave it, like I said, this is one of the first on this channel at the moment. I gave it 5 stars. I don't give those 5 stars out willy-nilly or very often unless it's absolutely required. But I was transfixed this entire documentary. I loved every segment that they provided, and they gave you good reasons to why each topic was worth what the time they spent on it. So I wholeheartedly think that anyone who's slightly interested in it and who wants to expand when it comes to the film knowledge, when it comes to the marketing side of things, when it comes to trailers, I would say 100% give this one a go. That is movie trailers, a love story. Alrighty, I'm going to finish off this episode with something a little different. This is a series and docu-series. Now, I recently watched this with my wife, and this is Limitless. Now, Live Better Now. This is this a National Geographic series done by Chris Hemworth. Now, I actually thoroughly enjoyed the first series that he brought out a number of years ago, back in 2022. And now he's brought out this 3-episode arc of Live Better Now, where you've got 3 episodes, all dropped up once. And I actually thoroughly enjoyed them. I think there's a part of me that preferred the first season. I think I got a little more out of the first season than I did this second part, but it didn't take away from me not enjoying it. So I think, when it comes to the health side of things, Chris Hemworth is very much known for it. He has a fantastic app that he provides to his fans called Center, which is fantastic, a great business that he's made and things like that. So he's definitely, you can see the passion that he has for his health, and not just his physical health, but his mental health and his brain power and things like that. So he's definitely showing you that. And I think season 2 definitely showed a bit more side of it, and I think it gave you a bit more fun aspects behind certain health challenges that you need to make to kind of preserve certain aspects of your health, but also push yourself and get better with certain points. So I think, me personally, I like the fact that the first episode was all about brain power, and they said to learn a new skill, and the fact that this took him to calling up one of his friends, Ed Sheeran, the fact that he had to work and to play one of his massive songs, thinking out loud on stage, to play the drums. It was actually fantastic. And as a personal learning for myself, the fact that one of my favourite Aussie bands, Parkway Drive, was also shown in this episode too, with the fact that he needed someone to teach him, and he got the drummer for Parkway Drive, which is pretty much the biggest metal band to come out of Australia, which is fantastic to watch. That I was transfixed that episode. That was actually a fantastic episode. Just watching the fact that Chris Hemsworth, that was something that Chris Hemsworth couldn't do. So it was actually a nice surprise to see he wasn't actually perfect all the time, which is a nice reprieve. So just watching him trying to take these 2 months to really trying to learn the drums and get on stage in front of 70,000 people and play this song that everybody loves and knows so well was fantastic to watch. And then going from there into the second episode, which is all about him pain and traveling to South Korea and learning to go through these, I wouldn't say the army brats and these secret, I wouldn't know what you would pretty much would call, but these South Korean massive big military guys, and put him through this cutting edge training segment. They put him into cold freezing water, and they challenged him when it comes to trying to go through a massive big trench when it comes to being all zapped alive and things like that. It was intriguing to watch him go through all that chronic pain and trying to really immerse through showing his different ways of just accepting the pain, pushing through the pain, and doing those kind of things as well. So that was actually kind of cool to watch as well. So that leads into the episode 3, where he had to train himself to climb up a 600-foot alpine dam in the Alps in Switzerland and slowly making his way up, which was so eye-opening to watch him do this. Like, that dam looked freaking... It's the biggest dam in the you can climb up, which is actually the biggest one in the world, which is actually incredible to watch him do it, and how it worked on not just his focus, but his improved mental and physical health, and kind of go through all the different challenges to get up that dam and how he worked to try and train for those kind of things. So the fact he only got 3 episodes, but all 3 episodes would have taken him amongst his scheduling and his all that these commitments and things like that, trying to get him through this was actually an astonishing. The fact that he's able to get through what he's able to get through is incredible. So yes, I would think the first season is definitely, I got more out of it for myself health wise. There's a lot of things that I've taken on board when it comes to my own day-to-day points that he suggested in the first season. I've taken some of them on point more than this one, but it doesn't take out of the fact that I actually took some things out of this second season, just enjoying watching the different ways he explains it and the editing and how it's directed, and the fact that this documentary series was done very much well by Darren Aronofsky. Pretty much, I think from memory, that's the director of the series, which I'm just trying to figure things out here. It's actually done pretty much like the way I always expected it to be, because it's Darren Aronofsky has definitely got a good reputation of doing certain different, like going to different ways. Like everyone would know, yes, he's got great films. He's got The Whale, he's got Black Swan, he's got a great film just coming out called Caught Stealing, but he also does documentaries and things like that. So he goes into different avenues when it comes to his craft, and the fact that he was able to do this with Chris was actually great to see. So I would say anyone who's interested to learning a bit more about their health and certain things that they can try and do, different techniques and things like that, I will say please give this a go. It's 2 seasons. There is not that many episodes. There's 6 episodes in the first season. There's 3 episodes in the second. So there's not many episodes you have to get through, but it's definitely worthwhile and giving them a go. So I would say 100% Limitless is something I would suggest to anyone to do so. Like I said, you can't really give star ratings for TV shows, but I would definitely rank it up there. It's a great series to watch. It's something you would watch regularly, no, but it's one of the things you watch, you take it on board, you take on board its lessons, and you try to adapt those into your life, which ones they work for you. And just seeing an Aussie, he's pretty much an Aussie legend now. I find Chris Hemsworth is up there. When people think of Australia, Chris Hemsworth is now one of the people you think of besides Steve Irwin, and you've got Eric Bana, and Chris Hemsworth has put us on the map now, the fact of Australia. People know him, people know how great a guy he is. He's a down-to-earth bloke, and he feels like just someone you can have a beer with. So I would recommend Limitless and give it a go to anyone, which is streaming all now on Disney+. Alrighty, well, thank you everybody for this last episode. I don't want to say last, but this latest episode in Reece's Reviews, produced and conducted by My Geek Culture and by MatthewFulton.com.au. Thank you very, very much for coming on this journey with us. Next week, we are back to our normal scheduled programming with our producer, Matty Fulton, back at the helm and bouncing off each other and making it a bit more well-rounded. Please leave your comments where you can on Spotify, on iTunes, wherever you get your podcast, and you can send emails as well where you can, in which will be shown in the show notes as well. If you want to follow my reviews, as always, it is CashelSkyGuy at Letterboxd. So give that a go, and I will see you all in the next episode. And as always, may the Force be with you.